Okay, so the subject is if a man wants to be Mekadesh a woman and he's using, the Mishnah talks about three things. One is about Kiddushin, one is about Mice, and one is about Hektish. And the main subject is going to be, is it considered his money? It's Kiddushin. Kiddushin means Karbanis. There are two kinds of Karbanis. There's Kiddushin Kiddushin, Kiddushin Kalim. Kiddushin Kiddushin is like Chatas, Ola, Asham, Mincha, and Kiddushin Kalim is Shlomim. Other kinds of components like that. So that's the first question. Mekadesh b'chelko. If somebody was Mekadesh a woman with his portion, means when he's a Kohen, and could be Yisrael also about Kachim Kalim. Chelko probably means the Kohen, the Chazal b'shok. I take it back. It doesn't talk about Shechalakim Achab Kohen. So we're talking about the Kohen that gets a portion of the Kabbanis, and he wants to use it to give to a woman to be Mitkadeshet. She wouldn't be allowed to eat the Kasher Kadashin. Kasher Kadashin is only eaten by Zechri Kuna. But if it's worth money, so he gave her money. And Kashim Kalim.
As soon as she'd get married, then she could eat it? Or no, I see. No, she can only eat Truma.
No, even the, right, only Zechri Kuna. She can eat Kashim Kalim, but she can't eat Kasher Kadashin. Okay. So the issue of the Mishnah, the subject is if it's worth money. Is it the owner's money? What we call is it money that Hashem gave him, or is it the Shulchan Gavua? Is it his money, or does Hashem? It's called the one's going to call the Shulchan Gavua Kazahu. That when the Torah allows somebody to eat kashim, it doesn't mean that it's a present. It means like I'm inviting you to my table. If someone comes in to your house, so you don't give him the food as a present. It means that he's allowed to eat, but you're eating by the Balabais' table. So when Hashem lets the Kohanim eat, maybe it's not considered their money. And that's what the Mishnah seems to say. I'm a Kaddish B'chelko, Ben Kashim Kadashim, Ben Kashim Kalim, Ben Kaddish. So somebody who's Kaddish a woman with his portion that he got from their Kabbanis, no difference if it's Kashim Kadashim, even if it's Kashim Kalim. Also, it's not considered money. It's not considered his money. Hashem didn't give it to him, and therefore it's not Mekudeshes. The Mishnah continues about Meiser Sheni. Really, I should make that also Meiser Sheni. Meiser Sheni. And then about Hektish. But just to point out that there's a general question on the Mishnah that besides it, if it's whose money it is, there's also an issue called Tovas Anah, that the fact that you have the choice who to give it to, could you charge for that? That's true, that it's not mine. But if I have the right to give it to somebody, so maybe that also is worth money. So that's a Taisvis, but the Gemara doesn't talk about it. The more just issue is it considered his money? Is the piece of meat considered his money, or it's not his money? So the first thing the Mishnah says, it's not considered his money. The next question is Ma'aser Sheni. Somebody has Ma'aser Sheni. He has the field produce, and he tied it, and the Ma'aser Sheni is supposed to be eaten in Yerushalayim, and then he wants to give it to a woman to become a Kudeshes. So the same question is going to be, the question is going to be, is it his money or not? And if it's his money, so then he could give it, maybe for Kiddushin, and if it's not, then he didn't give her any money. So here comes the Machlokes. Ben Shogig Ben is a Lokidesh, Tivir of Meir. Rav Yehuda Omer, B'Shogig Lokidesh, B'Mezid Kidesh. Rav Meir doesn't differentiate if it was intentional or not. And Rav Yehuda says that if it was intentional, then it is going to be Kiddushin. We wouldn't expect that Mezid is better than Shogig over here. But the question is, but Shogig and Mezid meaning the Mishnah doesn't mean that it was an Avera. There's an Avera to do it. Is there Avera to be Mekadesh a woman with Ma'aser Sheni? Is that the point? And he did Avera B'Shogig over Mezid. Is that the point? So it seems in the Gemara, the issue of Shogig and Mezid is not going to be as far as the Avera goes, but as far as did they know what they're doing? Did the woman know what she's getting? The Shogig didn't know what it was. And Mezid I
thought maybe Shogig would mean he didn't realize it was Ma'aser Sheni. He thought it was some other food that he was giving her, other fruit.
Right, I would have thought so also. And then the issue would be but doesn't mean Mitzad Avera Shabbat. What Shogig sounds usually like an Avera. Mezid, he did it intentionally. It sounds like an Avera. Zadon, it means a Resha. Doesn't only mean intentionally. But if it means like that, then the issue is that there's an Avera to be Mekadesh a woman with Ma'aser Sheni. And the question is, if he knew that he's doing an Avera or not. That's what the Mishnah might have sounded like, but I think the Gemara might say it differently. Is it Avera to use Ma'aser Sheni?
Right, because the Mezid, if it's an Avera, then for sure he knew he was doing an Avera. Why would it be good?
So we don't know. Rashi, by the way, tells us the Gemara is going to talk about it. Rashi doesn't even help us. He helps us to go further. He says, "Don't get stuck over here." Rashi says, "Ma'aser Sheni." Rav Meir holds that it's considered Hashem's money. Rav Yehuda says that it's considered his money. And then the issues about Shogeg and Mezid, Rashi leads for the Gemara. The Gemara Mefarish about the Shogeg. Rav Meir, how does Rashi explain that Rav Meir? It's no question because it's not his money. Rav Yehuda holds that it is his money. So how come Shogeg lo Kiddush? That Rashi leads for the Gemara. He doesn't mean if it's his money, is he still not allowed to do it? It's called an Avera. The word Shogeg and Mezid right away, L'chora, rings a bell that it means it's an Avera. That's the whole what the word means. The word Mezid doesn't only mean Kavanah. The word Mezid means Biresha. It means with wickedness. Zadon. Zayd Yoyo, Leit Shemo. I think that the word Zayd means always Avera, means evil. But if it means that, then it would mean both in Rav Meir also that you're not allowed to do it. Rav Meir, Rashi says, because it's not your money. And if we're not allowed to spend it for what, and even if you spend it, you didn't spend it, it's not yours. Rav Yehuda says that for some reason, B'shogeg is better than B'mezid over here. I think, let's speak a little bit ahead there. The one might talk about Shogeg and Mezid would mean if she knew what she's getting. Is it an Avera? I think it is an Avera. I think that it says you're not allowed to sell Ma'aser Sheni. You're not allowed to sell Ma'aser. It's considered a zilzul for Ma'aser Sheni. You're not allowed to sell it. So to use it to Mekadosh a woman also would be an Avera. The question might be, even though you did Avera, maybe it's still Kiddushin. The case of Mekadosh B'chelko, Avera, not Avera, but it's not your money. But by Ma'aser Sheni, that it might be considered your money, so we could talk about it if it's Kiddushin, even if it might have been an Avera. I don't know if I'm right yet. I'm just suggesting that it is an Avera, but that's not a reason why it should make a difference if it's good Kiddushin or not. And Rashi tells us, hold on, to explain why Yehuda holds B'shogeg lo Kiddush, even though he holds that it is considered his money, so you have to wait for the Gemara. And the third category is Hektish. The first case was Chelko. Chelko means his portion of the Karbonos. Hektish doesn't mean Karbonos. Hektish means that the Gizbar, the treasurer of Hektish, had, or somebody consecrated something to Hektish, a table. Somebody consecrated a razor Hektish. The table is Hektish. The animal is the donkey, and now he wants to use it to Mekadosh a woman, which the Chorah is not his. I would say Hektish for sure is not his. But here the question might be that by using it, it might take it off of Hektish. It might make it. How do you say Hektish? How do you say that in English? It makes it get out of Hektish because the Meila might make it not Hektish anymore. Then you could talk about if it's his money. But surely when he started off, it wasn't his money; it was Hektish's money. And here we have the opposite machlokus. B'mezid Kiddush u'b'shogeg lo Kiddush Rav Meir. Here Rav Meir is the one who says that. But Rav Yehuda said before about Ma'aser Sheni, Rav Meir says if you have a Hektish, that b'mezid it works, by shogeg it doesn't work, which is the same thing Rav Yehuda said before. It might be altogether different reasons, but that's what, as far as the law goes, Rav Meir said if you did it b'mezid, the Chorah of Shas is going to be that it comes chula now, and therefore it's considered your money. It was an avera, but the Ma'aser it's your money. And shogeg lo kiddush maybe because it's still considered hektish. Rav Yehuda Omer b'shogeg kiddush, b'mezid lo kiddush the opposite. That here b'shogeg is going to be good, Moshe is not going to be good. So Rashi tells us right away. Look in the Gemara. It's hard to figure out anything out from the Mishnah alone. Today's Gemara is all going to be. Well, I think we're all going to, as far as we're going to get. Come on. We're only going to do the first thing about Mekadosh B'chelko. Let's see. Look ahead a second. How far we got? A little bit. We'll do a little bit into Ma'aser also. But the main sugi is going to be on the first halacha about Mekadosh B'chelko, that it says that it's not considered his money. So the Gemara starts. The Mishnah says that Karbonos is not considered the owner's money. It's not considered his money. Name of Masis and Rabbi Yosef Galili. The Chorah of the Mishnah is against Rabbi Yosef Galili because we see someplace that Rabbi Yosef Galili holds that Kachim Kalam is considered his money. The Tanya, the pasuk says if somebody nefesh ki sechta mal Hashem, that if somebody did an avera to Hashem, but over there it talks about really that he swore falsely to his friend. That is that somebody denied the claim of a fellow man that claimed money from him, and he said, "No, I don't owe you." And he even swore falsely. He swore, and then later on, he comes to the tshuva and say that I swore falsely, and really I do owe you money. So Rabbi Yossi says that the pasuk over there talks about besides kichesh b'miso that he denied his fellow man, he lied to him. It says he was mal b'Hashem, that he did say the word mila means some kind of a rebellion. He acted rebelliously towards Hashem, and it talks about really swearing falsely, swearing to his friend. Of course, the oath also might be the Pashup Pshat that why he rebelled against Hashem because he used Hashem's name for swearing falsely that he doesn't owe any money. But here, Rabbi Yosef Glili says that the word Bashem is coming the Babos Kachim Kalam Shein Mamon. Even if the issue that he was swearing about was Kachim Kalam, the question was if he owed him Kachim Kalam, there are two people. We can talk about what the Gemara is going to say soon. Let's say a live animal, that there was a sheep and it was a somebody had designated it as this is a korban shlamim, and he gave it to somebody to watch. Let's say, please watch this korban until I could use it. And then he comes and says, "Where's my korban?" He says, "He never gave me anything." So he swore false, and he swore, "You never gave me anything." He swore falsely about kachim kalim. So Yosef Levi says that it's considered the money of the owner, and therefore you were swearing falsely to take away money from him, and therefore you have to bring a korban. The korban that talks about swearing falsely to a fellow man about money is even if it will be money which is partly Lashem because it's a korban. The Rabbis Kachim Kadam Shein Mamon the Rabbi Yosef Glili. So this is the famous Rabbi Yosef Glili that says Kachim Kalam Mamon Bailam. That Kachim Kalam, which means Shlamim, Bechor, Toda, Korban Pesach, Ma'aser Behem, all these things are considered Kachim Kalam. So it basically says all considered the monetary value belongs to the owner, and he learns that from this pasuk that by Kichish V'Amisa that talks about swearing about stealing from a friend. It even talks about Hashem, and he says it means this korban, and he says it's instead of your money. So what does the woman mean to ask? That if it's instead of your money, so then it is. If he's mekadosh a woman with it, it should be good Kiddushin. That's the Gemara's kasha that the Mishnah seems to be against Rabbi Yosef Glili, at least by Kashim Kalam. Kashim Kadashim fine, but Kashim Kalam not. The Gemara answers no. You got Rabbi Yosef Glili wrong. Afilu Tema Rabbi Yosef Glili. We can say that our Mishnah does fit with Rabbi Yosef Glili. It's only when it's alive, like the example that I said, that he had a live sheep and he said that this is a korban shlomim and he gave it to somebody to watch and then he denied it. A live sheep, as long as it's alive, so then Rabbi Yosef Glili holds that it's the money belongs to the monetary value belongs to the owner. Rabbi Yosef Glili also holds that once it's shechted as a korban shlomim, so then he also agrees that even the part that you're allowed to eat is also not considered your money anymore. And the Mishnah is talking about Mekadosh B'Chelko. Mekadosh B'Chelko means in the portion. It doesn't mean the live sheep. It means the portion of meat. And therefore, everybody holds that it's considered Hashem's money. My taima ki kazochum mishlochim gabo kazochum. When they get the right to eat the meat, they're getting it off Hashem's table. They're zochim from Hashem's table. Not that Hashem gave them a present. It's mine, but I'll let you eat it. And our Mishnah could even fit with Rabbi Yosef Glili. He also agrees that once it's shechted, then it belongs to Hashem. The Gemara even wants to show that the Mishnah is dafka like Rabbi Yosef Glili. Why does the Mishnah talk about Mekadosh B'Chelko? Why does it talk about his portion? It could have said, I'm Mekadosh, bein Kadosh Kadosh, bein Kashim Kalam, lo Kiddush. Leave out the word B'Chelko. And it would have been mashma that even a live animal also is not good. And if you hold on to Rabbi Yosef Glili, so then the live animal also is not considered the owners. The Mishnah could have said that. The fact that it says dafka B'Chelko is coming to say that there's a taka difference between a live animal and a dead animal, the ones who were shechted, and the Mishnah is saying that the shechted animal, that's when it's not yours anymore. If it would be a live animal, then the taka could be like a Rabbi Yosef Glili, that it is your money, and it could be a good Kiddushin. What have we learned so far? That as far as a shechted animal, that then everybody holds that it's not considered your money anymore, even Kashim Kalim. By a live animal, Rabbi Yosef Glili holds that it is your money, and it could be Kiddushin if you did.
Is that because, in other words, Bechelko, there's no such thing as a chelak? There's no such thing as a chelak until it's shechted.
Of the live animal. Right. The chelko means his portion. You don't call the live animal his portion. It means he owns a korban shlamim. So chelko means that it was already shechted, and now his portion that the Kohen gets, or the Israel, it doesn't talk about the Israel over here. The Rashi would say the chazav v'shok that the Kohen got, that's considered kashim kadashim, even according to Rabbi Yosef Glili. Rashi does what I see here. Ben Kohen v'chazav v'shok, ben balam b'basar v'shochem gavor. Rashi says also, Rashi does talk about the Israel, that anything they get after it's shechted, it's already considered Hashem's, and he only has a right to eat it. It doesn't belong to him. Tanu Rabbanan, third line. Tanu Rabbanan, after Rav Meir died, and the Talmidim of Rav Meir wanted to go to learn by Rav Yehuda, Rav Yehuda told his own disciples, do not allow the Talmidim of Rav Meir to come in to learn by us. because they're not interested in learning the Torah for the truth. They're counter-running. The word counter-running, I heard from Rabbi Miller that it has to do from the word counter in English. That it means that they like to argue. They're doing it for the argument, and they're not doing it to find the truth, and they want to show that they're right. Rashi says that they're where's the Rashi? Connected. They want to show that they're super smart and they can win the debate, and they're not out dafka to know the truth. That's what the Rashi seems to say. You could have learned a little bit milder that they wanted to prove that their Rebbe is right, and if they have like a ulterior motive or something which is very much pushing them that their Rebbe for sure is right, and therefore they're not going to look for the truth. Maybe I'm not sure. And the second, we're going to see that's not dafka. We're going to see a story that's going to be truthful, not that they said something which is true. I don't know. Here there was some criticism of Rabbi Yehuda against the Talmidim of Rabbi Meir, and doesn't say more to be able to figure out. I had a Rebbe once, Rabbi Mendel Kaplan, and he said when he came to learn, he came from to America, and he came to teach in a certain yeshiva, not the one everyone knows. He taught in Skokie, but that wasn't the story. It's a different story, a different yeshiva that he went to teach. And he said that the kids, he noticed after a while that the kids are looking up all the Marshal's kashas in order to stump the Rebbe. So he said, I'm not here for that, and he left the yeshiva. He said, if you're not looking to learn, I'm not here to teach. I'm not here for a test. Like he wants Talmid that want to know, that want to learn. So it reminds me of this Gemara. But I don't think that. No, I don't know what to say. Then we're going to see soon. So
it could be that they want to look up. They weren't going to look up Shabbos, but they had like 1% of their Shiloh was
1%. That's pretty okay. 1%. Okay, that's the answer. That's a very small percent. Maybe I don't know. There was some criticism of Yehuda said, "May I think he didn't want to come in to learn by him." Can't run him. Dachat Sumchas v'nichnas. Sumchas was the Talmud of Rabbi Meir. Famous Sumchas, big Tana. He was Talmud of Rabbi Meir, and he pushed his way in to get in. How did he get in? I don't know. He climbed to the window and came in. Avrohom, and he came to Rabbi Yehuda, and he said something in the name of Rabbi Meir. Kach shali Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir told me the following: Hamakadish b'chelko ben b'kodesh kadashim ben b'kodesh kalmo kiddush. It's almost the Mishnah. And the Mishnah doesn't say names; it does say stam. This is the first part of the Mishnah. Hamakadish b'chelko ben b'kodesh kadashim ben b'kodesh kalmo kiddush. And Sumcha said it over from Rabbi Meir. Sounds like an innocent thing that he says that both of them are not considered the money of the owner. We just finished saying a verse. He also agrees to that, and therefore it's not a good Kiddushin. But the Rebbe was upset because Rabbi Yehuda aleihem. So Rabbi Yehuda got angry at his Talmidim. Why did he let him in? Amalahem lo kach amati lachem al yikanzu mitamidi Rabbi Meir lakan mipnei shekan tivanim him v'lo lo motorahim bo amel lachem cheni balokhes him. Didn't I tell you that don't let him in because they're not interested in learning? They just want to stump me. What's bothering Rabbi Yehuda? This is his kasha. What are you talking about? Cases about giving kasha kadashim to a woman for what's the case? Kasha kadashim can't be out of the Azara. Once you take kasha kadashim out of the Azara, it becomes puzzle b'yotze. So anything which is kasha kadashim, chatas, asham, mincha, all these things are going to become puzzle. So the whole case doesn't make sense. Kasha kadashim, if it's out of the Azara, it's already puzzle. So talking about kasha kadashim in the Azara. That means that the woman got into the Azara to get Kiddushin. The Kohen is going to give the woman a piece of the kasha kadashim and say, "Avet mikudeshesli bekorban asham zeh." It doesn't happen that a woman comes into the Azara. Why not? Why doesn't a woman come into the Azara? There seems to be a machlokes Rashi and Tosfos, which is very fascinating. I didn't know this. Rashi says because a woman's not allowed to come to the Azara because you have the Ezras Nashim, which is the outer courtyard, and that's to where the women are allowed to go. After that, the Ezras Yisrael and there's Ezras Kohen. And once you go into the inner courtyard, that's the place where the men could go for 11 amas, and then the Kohanim for another 11 amas. If you have to do a voda, then you are allowed to come in. But the Gemara starts off that the women don't come into the Azara. How do you have a woman in the Azara? Taisa says, and Rashi quotes a Mishnah. Rashi says here, Nashim ein chasas lo kinetnan ba'avos hatuma b'perakam Mesechus Kelim. Rashi says it's a Mishnah in Mesechus Kelim that says a woman are not allowed to come into the Azara. And Taisa says no such Mishnah. Very, very fascinating. Taisa says, Rashi quotes a Mishnah that says that the woman can't come into the Azara below duck. The Lord Ashkam b'shum duck. Doesn't say any place like that. It doesn't say woman can't come into the Azara. And he says over there, the Mishnah that Rashi is quoting, it says till where Tommy Mace could go, and then where the Israelim could go, and there's no division of where the women can go. And Taisa doesn't go into why is it called Eshus Nashim? According to Rashi, it's called Eshus Nashim because till there they could go. As is Israel, they can go a little further. As is Khan, they can go a little further. And then Taisa brings proof that they could go in. And for Avoda, they also allowed to go in if they have to have if the Taisa says Smicha Ba'od Tanan Shashchit Ksher B'Nashim. It's smicha not because women don't do smicha.
No, not chasruach.
So then maybe they bring it out the animal before they shecht it. But this is one tenufa. Here he has a case of tenufa that has to be inside the azara. What?
It is on the case of shlamim that they bring it outside. On Yom Tov,
if it's not a real smicha, so then if it's not a real smicha, but if there's no smicha, so then Tais asking by tenufa. You see tenufa by a nazir and a sota and a zira and a sota that they do tenufa. So it's showing in the azara. Shchita ksher b'nashim. It has to be that it's inside the azara. So Tais is arguing in Rashi that woman could come into the azara. Lakach nirali that the Gemara has me say that while she's coming into the azara to get married, that doesn't happen. She doesn't accept Kiddushin in the azara. Ein Megillah Shetikonis Hashem Kadei Kadesh V'Zayinu Miltzat Lo Shchicha V'Lar Tanamizeh. So Taisa says no such halacha that a woman cannot come in. It just means that it's not going to happen. That women are coming in to get married in the Azara. Why is it called Eshus Nashim according to Taisvist? In his explanation, according to Rashi that brings a source that we don't have. Doesn't no such source. But it would make sense at least why it's called Eshus Nashim because that's as far as they can go. But if according to Taisvist, they're allowed to go further also. So according to Taisvist, has to have a picture of how to base a Mikdash look. And the Eshus Nashim, sure, you can be men and a woman. It's not called like we call the Eshus Nashim was only for the woman, the women's gallery. But in the base Mikdash doesn't mean that men are surely in the Eshus Nashim. And then in the next 11 Amos, that's called Eshus Yisrael. According to Taisvist, women also could be there. It doesn't say mechitza, it doesn't have all this thing. I don't know. I've looked exactly. But Taisvist says that women are allowed to come into the base of Mikdash also. So the Gemara's kasha is according to Rashi that women are not allowed to be there, and according to Taisvist, the Gemara's kasha is that it's not shchiach that she's going to come for getting married in the Azara, and that's bothered him the whole case. The whole case of the question that Meir has talked about. It said in the name of Meir. He was angry at the Talmidim that Kantaranim. Here you don't see Kantaranim over here exactly, but he said that there's no case like that. That the woman's going to be in the Azara to get Kiddushin from Kosher Kiddushin. Rabbi Yossi. So Rabbi Yossi said, I have to speak up. Yamu Meir Shachab Yehuda Kos Yossi Shasak Tivita Amatayaleha. People are going to say, "What's that?" Meir was nifter. Rabbi Yehuda's angry, and Rabbi Yossi is not going to say anything. So what's going to be with the Divrei Torah? Like you have to, even though Rabbi Yossi himself might have wanted to stay out of the issue, but he said he has to speak up because or else people are going to think that Torah is going to get lost. Rabbi Meir died. Rabbi Yehuda's angry at the Talmidim, but Rabbi Yehuda is not going to teach them, and Rabbi Yossi is not going to say anything. So he's also agreeing to Rabbi Yehuda. So I have to answer the question. It's true the woman's not going to come in, but a man could come in, and a man could accept Kiddushin from his daughter. So according to Rashi, the answer to the kasha because men are inside, and he has jurisdiction over his daughter, so he's going to accept Kiddushin. The Kohen is going to give the man Kiddushin, a piece of meat from the Kadashim, and say, and the question is if it's good or not. So we say it's not because it's not money. And according to Taisvus, it's a design for a woman to come in to get Kiddushin. The father to accept Kiddushin wouldn't be considered a bizarre. So that answers the kasha. Another teretz, could a woman not make a shliach? Means you have two cases of men that could be accepting the Kiddushin of the kosher Kedoshim and the Azara, either the father for his daughter or a shliach for the woman who sent him. So it's not a problem that Rameh spoke about if kosher Kedoshim was worth money or not. The what if she pushed her way through? Just made a little mistake here with my markings. They have to talk about if she did Avera. Let's say she did an Avera. According to Rashi, it's an Avera. According to Taisvus, it's not an Avera, but she pushed herself in and she wants to get Kiddushin in. She's in the Azara and she would. So I'm not sure if the words are much like Rashi or Taisvus, but basically answered the kasha that I should make this another teretz also just to get it. This is a third teretz. One teretz was that a father coming for his daughter, or the shliach is coming for the mishaleach, or she came in nichnas, so therefore it's necessary to talk about it. So we're not to talk about it. So it's spoken about what's the din of Kosher Kedushim, is it considered worth money or not? And the Mishnah says that it's not. But so far, Yehuda did not argue on the din. He just said that the case doesn't make sense. And we found out that the case does make sense. And now the Gemara brings a brayso that goes into the subject, is it considered money or not? In our Mishnah, it's very interesting. We didn't argue. There are three cases in our Mishnah. You have Mekadosh B'chelko, then Ma'aser Sheni, and then Hektish. By Ma'aser Sheni and Hektish, Rabbi Yehuda spoke up. It was Rabbi Yehuda. In the first case, there's no Rabbi Yehuda, only one Tana. And it sounds like nobody argues. But not more found the brayso that Rabbi Yehuda does argue. He argues in our Mishnah. Tanya Rabbi Yehuda Omer Mukudeshes, that if a man was Mekadosh a woman with Kosher even Kosher Kedushim, and surely Kachim Kalim, it is Mekudash. And that's like against everything we learned till now. Till now, we started off by saying Lili maybe Kachim Kalim. We answered that also. And everybody held that it's not Kiddushin. And the Abida says that it's Kiddushin. That Kosher Kedushim even is considered the money of the Kohen. Rabbi Yossi Omer Mekudash, which is the same as our Mishnah. And ended the brayso. So we found a new Shita, a view that holds that it's Kiddushin. And now the rest of the Gemara is going to talk about did Rabbi Yehuda change his mind? That's coming up. That's at the end of the page. First one goes for the reasons. Both of them dashing from a pasuk to know if Kosher Kedushim is considered money of the owner. It says in the pasuk, this should be yours from the Kodesh HaKadoshim, from the Kabbanis, and it says which parts the Kohen has allowed to get. And it says in the pasuk, this should be for you from the fire. This pasuk that says that this is going to be for you, so Rabbi Yehuda says that sounds that is for you. You can do whatever you want. It's your money. And Yossi Savar Ko'esh, since it says in the pasuk Min Ha'esh, which means left over after the part of the animal was put onto the fire. So now the Kohen gets the rest. So it says it's a similar. Your part is similar to the fire of the mizbeach. Ma'esh la'achila afu nami la'achila. Just like what goes on the mizbeach is for consumption, the mizbeach consumes it. So too, what the Kohen gets is also for consumption. So we have the statement of Rabbi Yochanan to explain where Rabbi Yehuda got it from, that is Kiddushin, because it says L'cha. And Rabbi Yochanan says because it says Kaish. So we got the big news now that the Rabbi Yehuda holds that it is considered your money, that the Kosher Kedushim is considered your money. And now is what I should have said. The rest of the Gemara now is going to be, did Rabbi Yehuda change his mind? I'm Rabbi Yochanan. Nimnu. Took a vote, and they came to the decision. Everybody agreed at the end. Even though at one point he held that it is Kiddushin, and we just saw a brayso, but he changed his mind and he agreed that it's not. He agrees to the Mishnah, and that talks about Ma'aser Sheni, talks about Hektish. Rabbi only argues in the second and third case. It doesn't argue in the first. It's very nice because Rabbi eventually agreed, and he holds like Rabbi Yossi that it's not considered your money. But Rav says no, that Rabbi didn't give it.
Are they getting it then from?
What?
Are they getting it from L'cha, that L'cha does mean any way he wants to use it? Oh no, I'm sorry, the other way.
That's what Rabbi Eish, right? Eish. The fact that it says Eish means that it's the same as the Kabbanis that you're only allowed to eat it.
First to eat, but not first to eat. In other words,
it's only for consumption, right? It's not yours. You're only allowed to eat. You're invited to eat it. You're not invited to take it home. Yeah. So that comes out, according to Rabbi Yochanan, the Maskana is that everybody agrees. I'm just pointing out that Mahavusa pointed this out, that according to Rabbi Yochanan, the Mishnah is good. According to Rav, the Mishnah is interesting that it didn't mention Rabbi Yehuda. If it's mentioned by Ma'aser Sheni and by Hektish, why didn't he speak up also by Hektish, by Mekadosh B'chelko, that he also argues? But that's how it comes out. That's what it says. Rabbi Yochanan knows that eventually Rabbi Yehuda gave in. Rav says he didn't give in. Rabbi Yochanan Mistabra. It's more reasonable, like Rabbi Yochanan, that Rabbi Yehuda eventually gave in, and now goes a long brayso, and we're only going to be coming to the kasha and the wide lines, just to zoom out a second, just to see what we're going to be doing. Even a little bit more. Okay. So from the top of the page over here, from until we get here to the third wide line, that's going to be the proof. And the real proof is only going to be in the wide lines over here. It's not going to be too much at the beginning, but it's very interesting. but it's not going to be negated to the proof. So the Bryce here talks about when they divided, they apportioned the korbanos, so they give to each Kohen, he has the right to get from each korban. If they're giving out a korban ola, or okay, the ola don't give out, they give out only the skins, but let's say korban chatas, asham, mincha, or birds, whatever they're giving out, that is supposed to be eaten for the Kohanim. So the Kohen has a right to get from each korban, and they can't say, I will give this Kohen this korban, another korban, and you give you a different korban instead. It has to be, you have a right to each korban. And that's a different subject. That doesn't seem to be our subject, but the Gemara does relate it to the fact that it belongs to, if it's yours, if it's considered your money. So we'll get eventually to that. So here the Bryce starts. So Abai is coming to say that he has a Bryce like a Yochanan, that Rabbi Yehuda is going to hold that the Kachei Kadashim and the Kachim Kalim is not yours. It belongs to Hashem. The Tanya, how do you know that you can't give out? You can't apportion what? Trade? Chokim. I don't think trade. I don't think so. The chokim is to. So it means that I think Keneged Zvachim means that whoever's the Gabbai over there, whoever's the Sadranim in the Beis Hamikdash, I think maybe you're right. Maybe it's also the people themselves. I think when they're giving it out, so you can't give one coin mincha.
Is dividing.
Right. So what does it mean dividing? That means that you have the korban that you have to give out, and the kohanim are supposed to eat it. So you might think that I'm going to be machalek, I'm cholkim machalek. Maybe I'm saying more machalek than to be cholek. I'm giving it out. So you can't apportion to one person a mincha and one person a zebach. Each one has a right to get zebach and mincha, but you don't give a mincha keneged the zebach. Does Rashi say words that we could told out the mincha v'ani. They're talking to each other.
So
I was talking about, so you can't trade it then. Okay, that each person gets it. Maybe that's going to be better pshat than I was saying. So how do you know that you can't Cholkim? They can't trade it then.
That's the
Maybe.
example that Rashi uses.
That he says, you take this and I'll take that.
Right.
Okay.
Which also would,
It makes more sense into the
That's at
whole
the end
issue
of the
about
subject.
whose money it is. So he got a piece of he got a korban and he got when they gave it
you
out,
got one portion of a chatas and one portion of a
mincha, and he wants to trade it to get
wants to trade
all
all
his wachim, all mincha. So you're not allowed to do that. Talmud Lomar, v'chol mincha asher te'efeh b'tanur, v'chol b'nei aron tiyeh. So this pasuk the Gemara is going to bring many times now in the rest of the daf, and it's interesting that it's really paraphrasing the pasuk. Maybe we'll have it over here. Where does it bring the pasuk? So this is pasuk tes, pasuk yud, and pasuk yud beis. B'chol mincha asher te'efeh b'tanur, b'chol ma'aseh na'aseh b'macheshes v'al machavas, lakohen ha'makrib osel lo siyeh. B'chol mincha b'lulav shemen v'chavei bo, b'chol b'nei aron tiyeh ish kachif. 2 psukim in a row, and it's talking about who gets the korban mincha. The korban mincha of the kohen. The kohen gets the korban mincha. It's kachik kadashim. So to who do you give it? So it says there are 5 kinds of menachas. There are 5 kinds of meal offerings. Here it says kol mincha asher te'efeh b'tanur, any mincha which is baked in an oven. And there are 2 kinds of mafik tanur. Is that true? Did I got there? There's 2, I think. B'chol na'aseh b'macheshes v'al machavas, which is made in these 2 kinds of frying pans. La kohen ha'makriv osel lo siyeh. To the kohen who brought the korban, he's the one who gets it. That seems to be. I'm reading the translation before we get. If you read the pasuk, I think anybody that reads the Hebrew is supposed to read it like this: any mincha which is baked in an oven, and any mincha which is made in a macheshes pan or in a machabas pan, it goes to the kohen who is makriv it. V'chol mincha b'lulav hashemen v'chavei bo. But any mincha which is mixed with oil and it was not baked, it was not fried, and also chariva, that it doesn't have any oil in it. It's divided amongst all the kohanim. That's how we would read the pasuk if we just read the simple words. That's what it says. But the drasha is not like that, and it's one of those psukim that the pshat and drash are really, really different altogether. Some people are going to learn the pshat, like I'm going to say now, but you can't learn the pshat. That's what you read the pshat. That's what the word says. But the drash is going to go. There's no difference between Mafi Tanor or Marcheshes or Machavas or Blulav Hashemen or Nechariva. All of them is going to be L'chol B'nei Aaron Tiyeh Ish Kachim. Everything. There's no difference. All of the menachos, when they're divided, they all go to all the Kohanim. There's no mincha that only goes to the Kohen who did it, who's makrivit. And it says in the pasuk that there is. They divide everything, and even though the pasuk says here that these menachos, the mafi tanur and the marcheshes and the machavas, it goes to the Kohen who did it. Don't learn like that. That's not the drush. That's the pshat, but it's not the drush. And everything, all the menachos do. And now the Gemara is going to dash in all these words that are extra now, because really it should have said, v'chol mincha. This is how it should have said. It should have said, v'chol mincha, v'chol b'nei Aaron tiyeh ish kachim. Because there's no difference between different korbanos. So that's what the Gemara is going to dash now, all the psukim that are extra now. In the Pashup Pshat, nothing's extra. In the Pashup Pshat, it's saying these kind is this way, and this kind is that way. But once the Gemara says everything is that way, so then a bunch of psukim are extra. That's what the Gemara is going to dash now. So here it goes. We'll be referring back to this pasuk the whole time to see what's being added on. So it says, Yochel. Where are we holding? Up here. You might think that you're allowed to divide a mincha against a zevach. A mincha means a meal offering. A zevach means a korban that's shechted, and you're giving it out to the kohanim. You might think that you're allowed to trade it. We'll say the word trade that everybody likes. So we have the pasuk over here. So we'll use a different color over here. This is going to be Asher Teyofer Batanor. And then we skip to the end of the pasuk, because the truth is that this korban is also Tiyesh Kachim, but it's an extra pasuk because it could have said V'chol Mincha alone. So this extra pasuk, so we learn out that everyone gets a chelik of the menachos.
This would have nothing.
I'm sorry.
It has nothing to do with klal. Sounds like prat u klal has nothing to do with like a prat and then a klal. Like it seems like the first prat. No.
Okay. It's just I think the main dagish is going to be on the word l'chol b'nei Aaron. L'chol b'nei Aaron. All the b'nei Aaron get it. L'chol b'nei Aaron tiyeh. It's a 3 dots over here because you have to continue the pasuk. Because we saw that it doesn't read like that. It doesn't read there are a lot of words in between. But skip all those words. These words are extra. It should have just said and it says those words are going to be the drash to say that he has a right to get all the Bnei Aaron get it. All the Bnei Aaron get it, and therefore
the second pasuk two psukim. It's 2 psukim, so 10 refers to 9. L'chol b'nei Aaron tiyeh ish ke'achav is 10, and the first part called mincha is 9. So it means that the going on 9. It's going on. The second pasuk is going on the first pasuk also.
Yes, and we said that the Pashup doesn't say that because it says something about lakon and makrib, but we're saying that doesn't mean that, and all the menachos are the same. And as far as the pshat, as far as the issue of the pasuk is coming to say that all menachos are divided to all the bnei Aaron, and now we're saying that Asher Te'afer Batano is an extra pasuk to say that you can't give a zevach in place. I can't say that you take the zevach, you take part of the zevach. No, each person gets part of every mincha. It continues now to say more drushes in the same line, same vein. Yachol lo yichalku menachos keneged zvachim shlo kamu tachtein badalos. Av yichalku menachos keneged ofos. Everybody kamu tachtein badalos. Maybe we just learned out that you can't trade off mincha for a korban because they have a different for an animal because they're very different. A meal offering and an animal offering is very different because there's no substitute of a korban with the meal offering. That means if somebody's poor, it's pasuk vayikra that if somebody's poor, so sometimes there's a kippah korban called olav yoreh that it's a fluctuating korban. There's most korbanos chatas. You have to bring a chatas. If you can't afford it, so wait to save up. Wait till you can bring it. But there are 3 kinds of averos that over there. If you can't afford to bring an animal, it brings a bird offering. If you can't afford to bring a bird offering, then it brings a meal offering. But there's no such case of being a meal offering that he right away jumps from an animal to a meal offering. That's called, it's a chiddush that's called that it's not considered a substitute. Even though you might say that when it's very poor, it's a substitute for the animal. But you say not like that the bird is a substitute for the animal. And if you can't afford the bird, so then there's going to be a meal offering, which is a substitute for the bird. But Gemara says that you might think that meal offering and animals are not considered in the same category, because even when somebody's poor, they don't come as a substitute. But meal offerings could be exchanged. Let me use the word exchange. Could be exchanged for a bird offering, because they do have some common denominator that when somebody can't afford a bird, he does bring a mincha. So you need another pasuk. Again, we'll put 3 dots over there, because it's also always going to be, and we'll fill it in just to show what we're doing now. That's the next drash over here. Is then okay, it goes all together now, but we filled in that. And again, you carry it on until you get to B'chol B'nei Aaron with the 3 etc. dots. So that also comes to another riboy to say that you can't even exchange a mincha for an oath. We continue. Yachol. There's still a difference between a meal offering and a bird offering, because one is blood, like the bird has blood, and mincha is meal. Maybe birds are similar to animals. First of all, the substitutes. So if you can't afford an animal, and all of you already doing a bird, and there's no difference between them because both of them are blood. Talmud Lomar, maybe you could exchange a bird. You take the bird, and I'll take the meat. Talmud Lomar al machabas, another pasuk al machabas, and then it says again l'chol b'nei Aaron, also extra pasuk again. That's the next pasuk we did now. Al machabas. Al machavas, again, that's the next pasuk that we're filling in. Al machavas. And then the pasuk goes, the drasha goes further. There's still a difference between meal offering, bird offering and an animal, because even though both of them are blood, both of them could be a substitute for one, but they're different. Between one is done by hand, one is done by kli. That means when you shecht it, so the zebach, the korban, you shecht with a knife, but the bird you do it malika, which is with your finger. So they're different, but maybe there is considered maybe you could exchange a mincha for a mincha. Both of them are similar. They're both kemach and they're both done by hand. You do kemitza. So Talmud Lomar v'chol mincha b'lo b'shemen v'chol b'nei Aaron. That's the next one in the pasuk. Mincha b'lo b'shemen. In between, it says something else that we have to dash because that's something else. Like Kohen Makruba says something else. We don't want that. And here, B'chariva is the last pasuk that's left over here. Yachol lo yichalku machvas keneged macheshes, and macheshes keneged machvas. Zuma same rakim, Bezama same question. Maybe you just can't divide the mincha against the mincha. 2 different kinds of menachas. One is done in a deep frying pan, one is done in a flat frying pan, but they're different. And this is rach, this is kasha. One of them is made in a way that it's going to be softer. One isn't made that it's harder. That there are different kinds of recipes for the machvas and the macheshes. But if you have the same kind of korban mincha, maybe you could say, you take that korban mincha, I'll take this korban mincha, if it's the same kind. Abal yichalku machvas keneged machvas and macheshes keneged macheshes, because they're all the same. Shalolu v'alolu masem kosher inami masem rakim. They're both the same. So that's the last pasuk. Tamudoma b'chariva l'chol b'nei Aaron tiyeh. So we got to the end of the pasuk already, and we dashed that also. This last one, b'chariva. So what we learn out that mincha against a zevach, and then mincha against the bird, and an animal against the bird, and then a mincha. I forgot the whole list over here. A mincha against the mincha, and then even a mincha against the same kind of mincha. So all these things, everyone has a right to get each one. You don't exchange it. Yachol. So now we're going further in the lo yichalku b'kodesh kadashim, yichalku b'kachim kalim. maybe even though you can't divide one against another, everything we spoke about till now, a mincha, and maybe the bird also, zachatas, and the animal will say is also only talking about kachim kadashim, but maybe kachim kalam that's a easier kind of a kachim. Maybe you could divide once against the other. And here Rashi says maybe the reason is because if it's considered yours, it's your money, then you're allowed to exchange it. Maybe it goes better not about exchanging, not about apportioning it. So since it's considered your money, maybe you're allowed to exchange it. Now we're getting back home to our subject. Are you allowed to? Is it considered your money? You might think kashim kalam is your money. That's not that Russia right now. We can even put this in parentheses for our purposes. We don't need it right now. The point is going to be that it says imal todah yakrivenu, or maybe I'm sorry, I should have done this really. That it says right next to the parsha we just finished talking about, which we dash that you're not allowed to divide one for the other. It says imal todah. It's talking about a korban todah, which is kachim kalim. Yishem she'ein cholkin b'kashim kadashim kachin cholkin b'kashim kalim. Just like you can't divide kachim kadashim against each other, also not kachim kalim. And here it says that all this does not belong to you. If it belongs to you, the Gemara puts it together. If it belongs to you, you'd be allowed to exchange it. Since you can't exchange it, it means it doesn't belong to you. And it says even kachim kalim. The end of the Gemara, the Brisa just finishes off the Brisa, which is not our subject. It goes back to Ish Kachiv, and it wants to dash. What are you dashing with that? Ish tells you Ish cholek v'afilu bal mum and katan cholek afilu tam. The word Ish tells you dafka an adult, that the adults are the ones who get the portions. The ketanim don't get a portion, and a bal mum does. Any kind of man. It's a mibi and a mir. The man gets a portion even if he's a balmum, if he's an adult, and a katan does not get even if he's a tam, even if he's not a balmum. Anyway, that's the brisa. What did the brisa say in short? After all the different limudim, it said that you cannot exchange a korban for a korban, even kachim kalam. And now the Gemara wants to know who's the author of this. It's a brisa. Who's the author of the brisa? We know it fits with the mission that says that kachim kalam also belongs to Hashem and not to the owner. But who's talking? Stam Sifra Mani Rabbi Yehuda. Who kamar the lesba the chalukah klal shramina. This is a Sifra, and Rabbi Yehuda is the author of Sifra. Stam Sifra is Rabbi Yehuda, and he says that you can't divide it. If you can't divide it, that means that it doesn't belong to you. Shramina. The Gemara is happy to say that this is a right of Yochanan. That even Rabbi Yehuda at one point said that kachim does belong to you. It sounds over here, at least I'm not sure before if the Gemara meant kachim kadashim, kachim kalam. I think that it meant to say before Rabbi Yehuda held that even kachim kadashim is also yours, and now it comes out that also even kachim kalam is not yours. There's a right to Rabbi Yochanan that says nimnu v'gamru, that even Rabbi Yehuda agrees, and he was chozebo, he retracted, and he holds like our Mishnah that even kachim kalam is not yours. Amar Rava ucharav milotanya. It's very nice that you brought a brisa like Rabbi Yochanan that Rabbi Yehuda retracted, because you found Rabbi Yehuda holds like our Mishnah. But is there not a brisa like Rav also who says that Rabbi Yehuda was not choser? But Tanya, it's no moshchem name cholkim. It says when they were dividing the korbanos, at one point it says that there was a lot, and everybody it was a big bracha. There was bracha, and everybody was able to get a nice piece. And even if they got a smaller piece, they had bracha and they were satisfied from it. Then it became a ma'era, it became like a klola, and they didn't have enough to give out to all the kohanim, and if they did, they got a small piece, and there was not satisfaction. So it says, that the people who were more, what would you call tzanuim? More refined. Okay, more refined. So they held by, they didn't take anything. And anyway, they're not going to get a kazayas. I think Rashi says either here or someplace else that they're not going to get the mitzvah of eating kachim anyway, because it's not kazayas. I'm only going to get the size of a pea. So they didn't push. But those who were gargaran means that the word gargaran means a person who eats a lot. That they were more eating, so they would divide. So Rashi says that Gemara holds pashut that it wasn't that they were dividing to get a pull. To get a pull, the pashut will be that they divided in order to get a pull. Some people didn't push and they didn't get the pull. They didn't take the pull, and there's not enough for everybody. And those that were pushy, they took it. How much did they get? A pull, whatever they was given, whatever they were able to divide. But it's pashut to the Gemara that's not what they were pushing for. So they were getting more. So how did they get more? So the Gemara thinks that there must be that they would be able to make an exchange. What would they exchange? The Gemara sees here that they're exchanging.
The ones that got the food would give the Sinuim something. I don't know. They'd give them something else, money.
No one's giving the Snum, the Gagabanim. The Snum are on the sidelines, not taking anything. But the ones that are the Gagabanim, they're going to be Cholkim. What are they going to Cholkim? Cholkim Derechilu, Meniach Chelko Lachaveru, Benotol Kenegdo B'Makamacher. That he would, what would be the purpose of grabbing a piece? He would grab this little amount and he would give it, he would exchange it with his friend in order to be able to get something else. The Gemara didn't understand he's going to just take get the pea for eating the pea. It'll be worth him something if he'd be able to make an exchange for something else, and he'll make a cheshbon, he'll have a running bill with somebody, and he gives him a lot of times the pea size, and then he'll eventually be able to get something for it. So the Gemara thought that this is a raya that somebody holds that you are allowed to divide it. So this would be a raya that Buddha holds that it's considered your money, and that shows that Buddha was not chozerbo. I don't know what the Gemara's raya is, a side kasha, that we know Buddha once upon a time held like this. Even if he said this is the pshat, so it means that Buddha called him chazor. How do you know that he holds like that even at the end? So I don't know what the Gemara wanted. I'm not sure. But he wants to be a raya. The Gemara thinks that this is a raya that somebody holds that you could exchange. The Gemara says, no, it doesn't mean that. My cholkim chotfim. You're right, that they didn't just take a pull and eat the pull. But it means that they would grab even more than a pull. And it means that they were taka stealing. They didn't have a right to take so much. First, the Gemara thought that they didn't take more than the portion they took and they exchanged it for something else. And here, or maybe they exchanged it for money, how much are you going to pay for this piece of pull? But the Gemara says, no, the pshat is that they grabbed more than they're allowed to take. But it's nothing to do with exchanging. Only safer, like it says in the end of that Mishnah, there was somebody that once grabbed more than he's allowed to take, and they used to call him Ben Chamsan until he died. It's a little bit difficult what the Gemara is saying because it makes it sound like it's a one-time story. According to what the Gemara is saying, all the Gagarim were like that. They all took more than their chaylik. So the first pshat like is not like the Gemara, but it says that's how we learned the Gagarim, that they took what they're not allowed to, and it says over there that's what some people were chotef. They grabbed his own and also somebody else's, and they used to call him Ben Chamsan until he died. They called him, they nicknamed him Ben Chamsan. What's a Ben Chamsan? So the Gemara continues to figure out what's a Ben Chamsan. Amar Rabba Bar Rav Shila, my Korah. What do you see a person that calls a Chamsan? Elohai, Paltainim, Yad Vashem, Likaf Ma'avel, V'chometz. So it's a person that talks about a Gazlan, he calls him a Chometz. Hashem, save me from the wicked, from the hand of the evildoer, and the Chometz. What's a Chometz? A robber. Rabba Amar Me'ach, another person where you see that a Chometz means a robber. Limdu Heitev, Deshum Mishpat, Ashru Chomotz. Learn well, and demand justice, and strengthen the one who has been robbed from. So two psukim to show that the word chometz has something to do with stealing. So that's all about hektish, about mekadosh bechelko. Yes, please.
Chometz, like it goes sour.
Nothing to do with that. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean chometz. It doesn't mean vinegar. It doesn't mean chometz. There's another word, and maybe there's a connection, but the Pashtat the Gemara is saying there's another word that means something about a ganav. The word chometz means a ganav. Okay, this means the first second that Tehillim 71, Yeshaya, Parak 1. You find that the word chometz means stealing. So what we learned, that's to summarize. The Gemara first brought Kashim Kalam Rabbi Yosef Lili seems to hold that's Mama Bailam. He says only when it's alive after it's shechted. He also holds that it's hektish. The Gemara brought a story about Rab Yehuda, Rab Meir, that he didn't want to accept a question about giving Kashim Kadashim to a woman, what she's doing in the Azara. And the answer is either the father or the Shliach or she pushed her way in. Then the question is if Abuda argues. Abuda seems to argue on our Mishnah. He says that it is good. It is good. It seems to say even Kashim Kadashim also. And more about a pasuk because it says Kodesh Kadashim, it says Lacha, but then the Gemara says Machlokes Rabbi Yochanan and Rav if he was Chozabo. Rabbi Yochanan says he eventually agreed to our Mishnah, and that would explain why he's not in our Mishnah. And the Gemara even found a brisa that sounds like that because there's some Sefer Rabbi Yehuda, and it talks about that you're not allowed to exchange even Kashim Kalim, you're not allowed to exchange for something else. That means that it's not your money, and the Gemara is happy with that proof. The Gemara does try to show that there's even a place Rabbi Yehuda must be talking and say that you could. Somebody holds that you're allowed to divide, and it talks about the Gargaranim Cholkim, and the Gemara thought that it meant that they're going to get money for it. They're going to somehow exchange it. And the Gemara says that's not a raya because it just means that they grabbed and they stole. You don't have any raya. So the Pashas, the Gemara goes like a Yochanan, that even Rabbi Yehuda, who once upon a time held that even Kashim Kadashim is yours, is the Mam and Bailam. The Maskana is he also agrees that even Kashim Kalam is not. So at the end, Kashim Kadashim, even Kashim Kalam, everybody seems to hold that it's not your money, it's not a good Kiddushin. The next subject talks about is Ma'aser Sheni. Ma'aser Sheni. So the whole issue of the Gemara is going to be, is Ma'aser Sheni yours or not? That's the issue. Before we get into Shogeg and Mezid, that's not going to be today's subject, but just who says Ma'aser Sheni is not yours? Our Mishnah seems to hold that for sure it's not yours, it's not your money. So that's why it's not. The more it talks about Shogeg and Mezid, it has to be explained still. But the first thing is going to be that it's not your money. But not immediately, how do you know that Ma'aser Sheni is not your money? It says in the pasuk, the whole Ma'asar ha'oretz mizera ha'oretz mepi ha'etz la'Hashemhu kodesh la'Hashem. That's the pasuk. All of the Ma'aser. This is the end of Sefer Vayikra. A couple of pasukim before the end of the Sefer. It says all of the tithes of the land, which is Ma'aser Sheni, things that grow from the land, from the trees, is to Hashem. Kodesh la'Hashem. La'Hashem hu below l'kadosh bo'isha. It's for Hashem, and it's not means it's Hashem. It's not yours. You can't use it for your own needs. You can't use it to be kadosh a woman. It's not yours. That's the end of the Gemara. That's how you know that Ma'aser Sheni is Hashem's. Even though Hashem says you're allowed to eat it, take it to Yerushalayim and eat it when you're Torah, but it's not yours. It's mine, and you're allowed to use it. The Gemara is a lot of kashas. The Gemara is going to say that if this is the pasuk, so then there are other places also. The Gemara then is going to retract. But so far, that's what the Gemara is finished. That the pasuk is going to be because it says, just highlight that it says La Hashem Kodesh La Hashem Kodesh. Oh, I didn't mean that. Try it again. Kodesh. Okay, I can't do it. Okay, Kodesh La Hashem. La Hashem who Kodesh La Hashem. La Hashem who below the Kadosh Beach. There's a lot of conscious. Truma. I mean Truma. I'm sorry. Truma's Ma'aser. We're going to bring other places where it says that it's a good Kiddushin and it's yours, and it also says something about Hashem. Kodesh. Ma'aser Dechsiv Kain Tarimu Gamatem Trumas Hashem. It calls Trumas Ma'aser. It calls it Trumas Hashem. So are you going to say that's not a good Kiddushin? It's not yours. Or Tananam Kadosh Trumas Ma'aser. Mikudashes. The answer is the Lo Ksivei La Hashem. It doesn't say La Hashem. That's the answer. That it says Trumas Hashem, but it doesn't say La Hashem. Is that the answer? Okay, it says Trumas Hashem, but it doesn't say La Hashem. And here it says what? Here what's our pasuk? Kodesh La Hashem. Kasha number 2. Chala dechsiv ve'titnu la'Hashem. It does say la'Hashem. Instead of there also it says it is good if the kohen got chala, he's allowed to use it to be mekadosh a woman. Utananam kadosh b'tumas mekadoshes, which includes also chala. The answer is the lo ksiv ve'kodesh. Here it says kodesh la'Hashem. It's true. The word la'Hashem alone is not enough. But la'Hashem can still mean that you're allowed. It's yours. But there it says kodesh. Rabbi Shvius, it says kodesh. Dechsiv ve'yovel hi kodesh tiyal lachem. It says kodesh. You're saying not Hashem. You're saying because of the word kodesh. The word kodesh, then shvius also you should not be allowed to use to mekadosh a woman. You see that shmita is yours. The answer is lo ksiv la Hashem. You have to have both kodesh and la Hashem. Having truma the ksiv kodesh Yisrael la Hashem rachis to also. So the Gemara thinks that it says the word la Hashem, it says kodesh and it says la Hashem also. The pasha over there the Gemara is talking about that the pasuk says the Yisrael is holy to Hashem. Like Truma, rachis to also, just like Truma, so too, Yisrael is Kodesh Lashem. But the more thinks that it's going on the Truma also, the Truma is called Kodesh Lashem, and the Truma you're allowed to. Utanana Mekadesh B'Truma Mekadeshes, that the Kohen is allowed to use the Truma that he got in order to Mekadesh a woman. The more says no, it's not. That's not the pasuk. The pasuk is talking about Yisrael, not Am Yisrael. That Am Yisrael is Kodesh Lashem, not that the Truma. Ahu Yisrael Ksiv. That's talking about the Jews. The Jews are Kodesh Lashem, not that the Truma is Kodesh Lashem. But the more says Ulav Mela Shamat Mina. You could anyway learn from it because the pasuk is saying that Am Yisrael is like Truma, and if it says Yisrael is Kodesh Lashem, it means Truma is Kodesh Lashem. So according to your drasha by Ma'aser Sheni that it says Kodesh Lashem, it's not yours, so Truma also shouldn't be yours, and it says you are allowed to be Mekadosh with Truma. There, Gemara Robin, I think it's like Ella. that it's only because it says the word who. It could be maybe because it says Kodesh La Hashem who. Maybe it's not attracting, but you have to have the whole pasuk. La Hashem who, Kodesh La Hashem. Yeah, I'm not sure if it means the word Kodesh La Hashem or means just the word who. La Hashem who, that it remains to be for Hashem. It's to Hashem and it remains, so it doesn't become yours. And that's the answer to the Gemara. Ma'aser Sheni belongs to Hashem. It doesn't belong to you. It can't be used for Kiddushin. And the question is going to be, the Mishnah says something about Shogig Mezid. That's less to be explained. So there's Hashem tomorrow. What?
According to you, the Mezid is.
Because according to Rabbi Meir Kodesh Ben Meir, no Chiluk Mezid is Shogig. But according to Rabbi, there's a Chiluk that we have to see what's the difference. Thank you.
What time tomorrow? Okay, so tomorrow